And then we're going to go into the number one fantasy. All right, guys, welcome back to another week of the podcast with Sex with Mark and Kat. So for those that don't know, I'm Markus Wolf, an international sex coach, and I'm here with Kat.
I am Katija Cortez, an international independent escort.
Amazing. So I'm glad you guys are joining us again. Last week, we had our first episode, which was a lot of fun. We spoke about virginity, really, for the first part of it, losing our virginity, Kat's experience as a sex worker. We dived into a few different topics. So it was a lot of fun. If you haven't checked that out, make sure to go have a look at it. But this week, I'm excited.
Me too.
We're going to be, we'll catch up. We'll talk about your week. You had a bit of an interesting week. And then we're going to go into the number one fantasy that men and women have around the world. So we're going to talk about gangbangs, threesomes, group sex. And then we got a question from one of the viewers about how to make sex a little bit more exciting for someone that you've been seeing for a while. We'll go into a few other things, but let's start off, Kat. Tell me about your week.
Oh, the week that was. I had a very interesting week. Stop looking at me like
No, like what?
Yeah,
I'm interested to hear.
So I officially made, technically my first pornos this week.
Congratulations.
Yeah, 5 of them. I know, it was
5?
Yeah, it was a busy week.
Okay, I did not know there was 5. That's impressive. This is with one person, I assume.
No, 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Okay.
Yeah, so
you had a more busy week than I
had
expected.
a very busy week.
Yeah.
On top of normal work as well. Yeah, so that's started doing that because apparently I don't have enough jobs at the moment. I think apparently I didn't have enough to do.
Okay, so to be clear, this is for your OnlyFans
Yeah,
content.
for it's OnlyFans content. So I use the word porn loosely. I mean, technically it's still porn. Sex tapes,
porn.
Right?
Yeah, it is.
That counts.
It's porn. It's porn.
OnlyFans is
just
still
independent.
porn.
You're doing your own shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Independent porn. So that was pretty fun. That was I had made sex tapes in the past, but that was just home videos with guys that weren't creators.
So it wasn't work, let's say.
No, it was. So I made one sex video for when I was doing OnlyFans for a little bit last year, a month maybe. And I made one video with this guy I was seeing at the time, but it was really... It wasn't
It was
real.
bad?
Yeah,
So
it was
you meant to say it was
home.
bad?
I wouldn't call it a sex tape. I would just call it a home video.
Okay. But I guess what my question is, because I've done a little bit of these recordings before, right, for the sex product that I released. But what I'm curious about is, did it feel like work? Were you in your head in a workspace, or were you just fucking having a lot of fun and it was being recorded? Where were you at?
You know, it's funny. Someone asked me that exact same question, and I was like, "You have to wait till the podcast because I'm sure that's going to come up." Yeah, no, it's when you make porn. I think it's a common misconception that it's very much like real sex, but I assure you, it's a lot more comical than anything. You kind of sit down and you kind of plan out positions and things that you're going to do, and there's a lot of lighting and there's a lot of and it's very unnatural. So porn, I think you might have, I don't know if you mentioned this last week on the podcast or if you just mentioned it to me separately. It was last week. You were talking about how people will mimic porn and they do the positions, but those positions are made for porn. So they're made to, really, everything you're doing feels very unnatural, but you're doing it so that it looks good on the camera. So that's really what you think about. You're like, oh, got to suck in my stomach, got to arch my back out. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah, both the guys I worked with, they were really cool. So one of them we're getting on the show next week. So yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah! All right, we'll chat to him about that as well.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a fun interview next week. Well, that was my week, pretty eventful.
Yeah.
What about your week?
I just want to comment on that though, because when I recorded for my product, I found that you might experience this. I think it might be different with different people, and as you go along and do it, because on the first time I filmed, I was like that. The whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, is that SD card in the camera? Is that recording? Is this light on? Is that camera still going? I remember even one of the times that we filmed, I had to get up halfway through because I was just in my head about it. And I was like, I just need to make sure everything's recording still and the lighting's okay and this mic is set up and this is... But then I think once you get over that initial filming stress, Then a couple of times even, I just forgot I was filming. And I guess I'm doing it for a slightly different reason. You're doing it for entertainment, so it's a lot more important to be worried about those aspects. But for me, when it was like a coaching thing, there was some times where I forgot I was fucking filming. And the girl was meant to have like an anonymous name, let's say, and I kept saying her real name and shit like that. So I think perhaps over time, if you plan on doing it a little more, it might become a little bit natural. But that's also something I guess we can ask our old mate about next week.
Yeah,
and see what his experience has been like.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
That's awesome though. Fun week. I have been. What did I get up to? I went on a yoga and meditation retreat.
Yes, I
don't know if I told you this.
You briefly told me. I think I messaged you something, and you're like, "Oh, I'll reply when I get back from my yoga retreat." And I was like, "Sorry."
Yeah, I had no reception.
Did I message them?
Yeah, you're like, Markus, he's on a fucking...
Yeah, and I saw your picture.
Yeah.
And you were like at an ashram.
Yeah, it was legit. It was a legit out in the bush, middle of nowhere yoga meditation retreat.
So are you Zen now?
I'm completely enlightened. I'm Zen. I have a purple aura. No, it was very interesting. It was very interesting. I think a lot of people don't expect that from me, right? Because perhaps they see like the BDSM side of things in my personality, but it's excuse me, it was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. Like I've always been a fan of meditation, and just recently I did like 2 weeks diving trip, and that had a lot of meditation yoga in it. But yeah, there's a lot about my life you're figuring out right now on this podcast.
Yeah,
but it's
missing out.
But I guess if we're gonna relate it to sex, let's say. I actually think the whole idea of mindfulness and attention, but did you meditate at all, Kat?
I try to sometimes. So my gym has yoga classes, and you do a little bit of meditation in there. As you know, I'm not a very spiritual person. No. My idea that like last year of being spiritual was, I think I came to it was like, I'm going vegetarian to be more in touch with the earth.
I'm now, yes, exactly.
That was what I said.
It's your spiritual journey. Yeah, that's the first step.
I felt that being vegetarian made me more connected to the earth. That was
my idea. I felt you were more spiritual. I could see it. Yeah.
So that's as spiritual as I went. I was vegetarian for like 5 minutes.
But I think it's something that, and look, this is the big problem, I think, with getting into any of these practices, is one of the barriers to entry is a lot of people see this whole idea of like, spiritualism, and everyone's like, fuck that, right? Well, not everyone, but a lot of people. But there's a lot of science behind this. And that's what I found interesting about this. You actually go on one of the nights of this like movie night where they just play like a meditation documentary, essentially. It's their indoctrination, but it's essentially... The way I think about it when it comes to sex is you can apply a lot of those lessons around mindfulness and attention when it comes to pleasure. Especially, I would say, for women, right? For men, it's super helpful when it comes to performance anxiety, getting in their head, being stressed. But women, when it comes to pleasure, because I think a lot of times what happens is, I describe it as like women getting into like their shopping list, right? So they're trying to have sex, but there's so many things rushing through their mind, and they're not actually focused on the pleasure. And one of the exercises, which I think everyone could even do at home right now, is just for a second, just pay attention to your big toe, right? Just your right big toe. Just pay attention. Yeah. Just, Kat's like, shut the fuck up. I'm not doing this spiritual shit. Seriously, just take a second and think about your right big toe and just feel the sensation in that toe. Just for a second. And what you'll actually notice...
trying to do that.
She's like, I'm trying so hard. But what you'll actually notice, if you take a second to do this, you'll notice sensations in your toe, whether it be like
twitching.
Exactly, right? It starts twitching, it feels warm, it's cold, there's like a nervousness runs through it.
I don't like it, make it stop.
And yeah, stop doing this creepy shit. And the thing is, it's just because you never placed focus there, you never thought about it. And so the same can be said with pleasure. If you're getting your pussy eaten out, right? And you're not focused on that. And you're focused on, do I look good? Like you mentioned this porn, like, am I in the right position? Is my bent back enough? Like, and a lot of women have this outside of porn, obviously, thinking, what do I look like? How does he think about me? Will he want to see me again? Or you might be thinking, fuck, I hope this guy's not needy, like whatever it might be, but you're not thinking about your pleasure. You're not focused on it. So these acts of mindfulness and shifting focus and attention is a really good way that you can actually bring into the bedroom. So you can start experiencing pleasure at a higher level, especially for women, but also for men. So it was, we can go into that maybe in more detail in one of the weeks, but excuse me, I just thought it was really interesting to go through that experience and then maybe put on the sex coaching lens for a second and think, how can this help and how can this apply to people that want to experience better sex and better pleasure?
I love that you even used a yoga retreat to
exactly.
get more in tune with your sexuality.
Exactly. It's all I can think about, right? But it was it was a great experience. I'd encourage anyone that is interested in it. You can just download an app and just do like 10 minutes of meditation a day, see what happens. But super helpful. I think maybe we'll get Kat on board. We'll see.
Oh, God.
We'll see. 10 minutes a day. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I have a yoga mat.
That's a start. Yeah, that's a start. You got a yoga mat. Listen, vegetarian.
I was vegetarian for about a month.
Okay, last of the month. We'll see how long we can get meditation going. We'll come back next week and we'll see how many days Kat was able to meditate for.
Yeah, all right.
But yeah, essentially that was my week. So not too exciting on the sex front, but exciting on the journey front, let's call it. So yeah, I had a great time. But let's get into some fun, Kat.
Yeah, the nitty gritty.
Let's talk about threesomes, gangbangs, group sex. So we're gonna start with you, just because you gave me that look. We're gonna start with you. What is your experience been with threesomes?
Yeah, so I don't have the biggest experience with group sex. More so just from work, really. So I've done a few. 2 girls and a guy threesomes at work. So that's a paid
this
thing,
is
right?
essentially a lot of couples, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, pretty much almost all. So sometimes it'll be me and another escort with a guy. So a guy will get both of us.
Or
And then mostly couples though. So I've asked a few couples like that I know, like randomly, I've been like, oh, like have you ever like considered doing that? And most of them will say no. And I always find that so interesting because it's one of one of the fastest growing requests, I think, that I'm getting at the moment. It's starting to become really popular. And even places like that sex club that we went to, pretty much everyone there was a couple. It's like a big
that's
thing.
True. I guess my question here is, are they, is this a girl's idea? Or is this the guy's idea? Like, what's your impression? And is this something they do all the time? Is it something they do in their own lifestyle? Or is this like a gift for one of the partners? Like, how does this work?
Yeah,
like,
so
what do you think
there is a lot of rules. So whenever you go into it, well, from a work standpoint, so with couples, so this isn't necessarily if it's just 2 girls and a guy, but when it's couples, you always say first, like, oh, okay, like what are the rules? Because usually there is kind of rules and boundaries. So like some obvious things, like I have to wear a condom with the guy, or sometimes it's not even me touching the guy, it'll just be me with the girl, like he just wants to watch his missus get it on with the girl. So that happens sometimes too, but sometimes it is me and the other guy, but sometimes it's no kissing or just there's random things. Every couple has their own rules. So I would say think about rules and boundaries, but no, it's not usually a gift. Usually it's the ones that I've spoken to, it's usually where they know that they have desires. I don't want to say desires to be unfaithful, but they have lots of sexual energy.
Of course.
That I don't know how to word it without it
the
saying
girls
bad.
are worried about them cheating. Okay, we get it.
Yeah. Look,
okay, my man's gonna cheat. I'll get in there first. I'll book an escort in. He can have a threesome. I'm gonna watch. No kissing allowed. No, nothing else. And then this will get rid of his desires.
Well, so one of the couples that I seen more recently, I asked because I'm always curious, like, oh, how do you like make it work? And they literally basically said that the guy was like, yeah, she knows that I like pussy.
That is hilarious.
And she was apparently also a horny bitch too.
That's
so
gold.
they just
gold. All the men out there in couples are being like, see, this wife lets his man go fuck it, go in front of him. That's super interesting.
And apparently, I was talking to a male escort last week as well, and he said that he does mostly couples. So apparently guys are getting into it too.
There you go. So I do have someone that's going to come on the podcast, Timo. So he's a tantric coach and gigolo. And yeah, he's mentioned he's had a lot of let's say threesomes through work, but most of the time they're hiring like another girl as opposed to it being couples. But yeah, that's super interesting. So let's say most of the time it's usually the girl initiating it for the guy is what you've kind of been experienced to.
Because
This is what
I
it
think
feels like.
as a guy, how would you...
Hey, wifey, by the way.
By the way, I want to fuck other women.
Yeah. That's okay. That's
I might need to
actually a
do
good
some
point.
digging.
Yeah.
Next time I
That's super
go for
interesting.
a couple booking, and maybe find out a little bit more about how. But yeah, it is usually
Have
the
you
girl.
ever had a jealous girl in a couple booking?
No, not yet. Because
Okay.
I mean, I think that would be a bit hard, considering I'm there.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I don't know actually. Yeah, I haven't, but I mean,
But
yeah.
no girl during sex has ever been like, okay, that's enough.
No.
Or like,
no,
don't touch him like that.
No. Well, yeah, no. I've
We're
never.
done. Get out.
But I think the reason why is because every couple that I've seen, I've asked them like, "Have you done this before?"
Okay,
And
and they have.
they all have. So maybe
okay,
on
so
the
you don't have
first-
like first timers.
not yet. So
Okay.
I think maybe on a first time that might potentially happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, that's super interesting.
I don't know how I would feel personally about a couple booking. So I'm just thinking, if I had a boyfriend, I think I would be open to.
Yeah,
an
how do
open
you feel about threesomes?
I would be open to an open relationship, but I don't think I'd want to see it.
okay. No, that's actually
Like,
common.
if you want to fuck other guys, I feel like I would kind of be okay with that if I fuck other guys. Fuck
yeah,
other
other girls.
sorry.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
I
Yeah.
feel like I would be okay with it if I don't kind of know that it's happening. I don't know, or maybe if I know it's happening, but I don't
Ignorance
see
is
it.
bliss. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because I don't think I could be in a fully monogamous relationship.
Yeah.
What about you?
So yeah, obviously I have open relationships. I see girls casually. And
But that's not dating.
for me, well, I mean, there's different levels, right? I have had, let's say, serious or longer term, like open relationships. But yeah, it's a tough one. For me at first, I'll give you my introduction to group sex and threesomes. How about that?
How about you enlighten us with all of
'cause I
your
don't think-
stories? Because you've got a lot to say. This is actually your number one area of
I
expertise.
do have a lot to say, I
The
do.
first time,
Yes.
we were saying last week, the first time we met was when I was invited to have a foursome with you.
Exactly. There you go. So bringing people together. That's
my God.
good catch.
Oh.
Cat just dropped her
Yeah,
headphones.
sorry, my headphones
Amazing
just
catch.
slipped off. Don't mind me.
So my introduction, I probably had group sex before this story that I'm about to tell you, but it wasn't that memorable, let's say. It might have just been like, you're on holidays with friends, like you're in Europe or something like that, whatever, there's a girl, maybe you share. But, yeah, it's just like, yeah, whatever. But no,
We're in Europe.
this one time, which I consider my first experience, let's say. Because I think as a guy, one of the hardest things still is the idea around either jealousy or your male ego. So one thing is like if you're having a male, like sort of female threesome, you got another guy there, you gotta, there's some guys that go, it's gay. There's another guy in the room, it's gay. It's like, all right, settle down, mate. Like you need to maybe address your sexuality a little bit there. But the other part is obviously jealousy. So when I was much younger, I wasn't having, let's say, open relationships. I was someone that would be jealous. But to me, this jealousy is a fear-based emotion. So to me, jealousy is just the fear that you're going to lose whatever you have with that person. It could simply just be validation, right? If you just met a girl that night, you had sex and it felt great, and this girl's like, you're amazing. That's validation. It feels nice. It feels nice to hear that. And so now if you were to say bring in your friend or your friend and this girl are going to have sex or you have a threesome, you're risking that. And it's a fear that you might have. And on a more serious level, if you're a couple and you're bringing in someone else, that's another fear. What if they like this person more? What if they realize we're not right? What if they go, and it's this big fear. Because we're never jealous of a situation where we know we're not going to lose the partner, right? Like if you're out with a guy and some old granny comes up and he's like, you're so handsome. You're not sitting there being like, bitch, back off my man, right? Get the fuck out of here. But imagine it's some 20-year-old little girl with like big fake titties, little short skirt. She comes up and tells you, man, he's handsome. That's when you're going to get jealous. So to me, it's a fear. And I had that fear the first ever time I had this experience. So there was a girl I met in Poland years ago. we had seen each other a couple of times, and then I asked her, and she was like, "Yeah, like I'm open."
What did you ask?
Do you want to have like another guy in here? Like, do you,
A guy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so my first experiences were like 2 guys, right? And so she was like, "Yeah, I'm down." Like she was happy for it. I think that's another big misconception for men is they have this idea in their head that every girl is this little good girl saint, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, the girl can still be an amazing, smart, respectful, even girlfriend material woman that still would be open to the idea of kinks like threesomes. As I mentioned before, it's the most popular fantasy that people have. And so,
it's
yeah.
definitely mine.
Well, there you go.
So I still haven't had 2, like me, with 2 guys.
What?
I know.
Okay.
I know, we'll have to change that
chat,
one.
we'll chat after this podcast. We'll figure that out. Yeah, we need to start fulfilling fantasies. But so I was like, okay. So I brought in 2 of my friends. And it got to a point where we all left and she stayed with one of my friends. So I was sitting outside the room.
Was this your girlfriend?
No. This is a girl. This girl I've seen a couple of times, right? And I was sitting on the couch, but like I liked this girl, let's say. Like not, this wasn't just some like, whatever, we just had sex somewhere. Like we'd seen each other a couple of times. I was into her, she was into me.
So it was expected that you 2 were kind of hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, it was still very casual, but what I'm saying is this wasn't just whatever in my eyes, let's say.
Yeah.
Hopefully that translation makes any sense to everyone. But I was sitting outside on the couch and just listening to this girl getting destroyed, right? She's just she's getting fucked by my friend, right? So I'm
just with you there.
Well, no, as in I'll give you the full story, Kat. So we had sex. Then I was like, all right, do you want to have, fuck my friends? I'll bring them in. So 2 of my friends came in. We were all fucking it together. Then me and my buddy walked out and left one of my friends and her together.
Okay.
So they're having sex, but I'm just waiting on the couch. I'm just sitting there.
Yeah, okay.
And so I remember this moment, right? I remember just sitting on the couch thinking,
burning,
I'm just like, this girl's just getting destroyed. And you have that fear, right? You have that fear of, okay, is she going to like this guy more? Is she still going to want to see me? All this comes up. And what you actually realize, and I've done this now hundreds of times, right? And what I realize now is even when I bring in a friend that looks like a fucking model, he's got like a 6-pack, 10 out of 10.
I think I know what friend you're talking about.
Well, okay. It doesn't change the fact that almost every single time the girl, it doesn't change how she perceives you. If anything, it increases your perception because these girls are going to fuck other guys anyway, right? Now you're just more cognizant to the fact that it's happening. But what you'll actually notice is this girl sees you as almost like the gatekeeper, as I describe it, gatekeeper to pleasure. So you're the one creating this scenario where she's able to fulfill her fantasies, where she's able to have more pleasure. And whether she realizes it or not, she sees you in that light. And oftentimes, every time I walk back into that room, the girls respond in even more positive way than before. So even though you have this fear of, okay, she might like me less, I've found every single time it's the opposite. The girl actually likes you more. She feels more open with you. She feels more trusting of you. She enjoys this experience more. You've opened her up to a new world. And so over time, that removed a lot of my jealousy. Like right now, I mean, obviously with my lifestyle, but right now I don't experience pretty much any jealousy at all. If I'm with a girl, even if it's a girl I'm seeing and, some guy comes and speaks to her at the bar or some shit, like I'm never worried. If she's told me, I went and fucked 4 guys this weekend, right? I'm just saying something extreme, but it doesn't worry me because I know the way I describe it, it's like having friends. You can have 3 best friends. And just because you have a 4th best friend doesn't affect the way you see the other 3. So our relationship or our dynamic doesn't change depending on if she's with other people. What changes is how you respond to that. So if you actually get jealous, if you get butthurt over it, she's going to look at you in a negative light. Whereas if you're confident and you give off that energy that, listen, I trust in what we have so much, I don't give a fuck, then that is super attractive. And that's what girls really like. So I think it was almost like a therapy having a lot of this group sex and just getting out of this fear-based emotion around it and really enjoying the experience. And it is enjoyable. Like, to me, having a threesome, it's fun, right? Like, there's a scale of like fun and pleasure. It might not be the most pleasurable thing in the world. And this maybe goes for women as well, but it's fun, right? It is.
No, I think you are. I think you're onto something.
I am. You gotta get on it. Like,
I think you're onto something.
Yeah, and look, I know a lot of women might feel this has been my experience, right? When I introduce it to girls, so let's have like a threesome, whether it's 2 guys or 2 girls. A lot of girls are worried about, okay, maybe it's like the porn they've seen and it's like dicks flying everywhere, which some girls like, right? Like, they love the extremeness. But some girls like, this is too much, or it's like too much pressure. So there are different styles. Just like sex, there's different ways you can have threesomes, different ways you can have sex. So yeah, 100%.
What about if you're a girl and you don't have a mark to set up threesomes for you?
So my number is no, kidding. Yeah, it's
watch all of the
exactly,
DMs for our podcast. And like, hey,
exactly. We'll set something up.
Set something up. I hope you've got time to have a lot of threesomes.
No, I don't have time. But it's tough. I'm not gonna lie, right? Because
so if I'm a normal girl, how do you just, because not all escorts are made equal, I guess. Like, I don't think you could just hire 2 male escorts and then have a good experience. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's a tough thing to be able to do and have a really positive experience with. I think you're going to have to accept the fact that maybe your first threesome is going to be a little bit chaotic or maybe not go to plan, and that's why I say it's fun. You got to really embrace the randomness of a threesome, let's say. Well, I think my next question for you was going to be, how do you set things like this up? So regardless of threesome or any group sex, how do you set it up? So, guy or girl, really? Yeah, exactly. So if you're a guy, I'll answer this for the guys and then it's for the girls, right? So if you're a guy, I think the best way is find a girl that's open, fun, that you're having like a casual relationship with, and maybe don't start with like threesome. Start with, okay, do you want to be tied up? Start with, okay, I've got this new toy I want to try. Start exploring kinks, find out what she likes. And then this goes for any kink really, but we'll talk about threesomes. Then I simply say, like, have you ever had group sex before? Have you had a threesome? Yes or no? If it's yes, then it's easy. You set it up. If it's no, you ask why. Right? Now, maybe the girl says, oh, I think it's like porn and there's like fucking dicks flying at me everywhere. And you're like, no, there can be 2 of us and it's going to be slow. It can be a little bit more sensual. You don't have to worry about like pleasing anyone. And maybe girls are worried about the jealousy. They're like, I don't want to share you. And so then it's important to just deal with whatever their concerns are. So if they're worried, again, that fear-based emotion, you need to let them know. Like, no matter whatever the third girl we have in here is not going to change our relationship. And oftentimes, if it's someone that I've been seeing, say it is a relationship, then I'd say, like, look, if you feel uncomfortable at any point, we just call it, right? We just end it there. Like, you obviously don't just kick the third girl out, but she needs to know that if you guys are uncomfortable at any point, it's just going to stop and it's going to end there and you guys can chat, maybe have a drink and you call it. And so just giving her this reassurance and having those rules set up. You spoke about this, right? Talking through it. Because a lot of times if it's a relationship, the girl doesn't want you sitting there like lovingly, romantically making out with the third girl, So you need to taking her for dinner.
Exactly. You guys are coming around for a threesome. You guys are,
like keep the wine and the cheese platter for a different night, right? Probably.
And even for guys, like if I'm, for example, with a girl and I say, okay, you want to have a threesome with another guy, I have a friend. That friend knows as well. Like we have rules. He's not going to come in and then try to get her number at the end and try to be meeting up with her and try. So you need to like understand your dynamics. That's the big thing when it comes to threesomes. Understand your dynamics. And so if you create this open space already with the girl and you're already exploring kinks, then suggest either, obviously girls for the most part are going to be more accepting to a male female threesome, so having another guy in as opposed to another girl. So you might do that first, right? I might do that first, or sometimes I have girls that just love women, so it's easy to get a girl in. But do that first and slowly explore it. Deal with any concerns that she might have, and when you both have a real, true understanding of what's going to happen, then there's a lot less worry, right? And you can actually enjoy the experience, have fun. Now, your question about what to do if you're a girl, it's a little more difficult, right? Because you really are going to have to find a guy that is open.
somewhat dangerous.
Yeah,
Like if you're a
it's-
girl, you can't just walk up to a guy in a bar and
Hey, what
hey,
about
let's have a threesome in the bathroom. Like you don't know who
Yeah.
these people are.
Exactly, right? Exactly. So it can be a little bit, I think, more difficult to find an open-minded guy to something like that, unless it is, again, two girls. If you're looking to have a threesome with two girls, then it's an easy sell to guys, right? It's a lot easier to sell that dynamic. But yeah, same principles, right? If you start not by saying, okay, hey, it was nice to meet you. That was a great date. That was fun sex. Hey, do you have any friends for me? Right? Do you want to but start with, okay, what are your kinks, right? What do you want to explore next time? And then through that conversation, you can maybe set something up like that.
Awesome. But you had a lot of very insightful things about threesomes, but you kind of briefly hovered over, well, the next thing maybe, if you're done with the threesomes bit, is you've had a fair bit of gangbangs, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Just casually.
Yeah, no, of course.
Oh, just a few, whatever.
Yeah.
That's probably like one of the more extreme categories, I think. I know even me personally, as I said, I've never really done the girl and multiple guys thing. And to be honest, that's usually the kind of porn I watch. It's probably because it's one of the only things I haven't done yet. So like I still kind of find it
curious.
Yeah, I mean vanilla porn just doesn't do it for me, right? But like when I watch that, I'm like, ooh, like look at that.
Okay. What do you think you like about it?
I think it's just because it's different. Like I haven't done it yet. That's extreme for me. I mean, hey, I'm a sex worker, so not too much is extreme for me, right?
Yeah.
But since I haven't done that yet, that's still outside of my my I don't know, zone, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that's probably even harder, I guess, than a threesome. But like, how do you? Is there rules? I mean, because I'm just thinking if it was me, because I have been asked at work a few times. I've gotten some people messaging me being like, hey, can we gangbang you? I don't know if these people are serious, but I've always said no.
That's a mad intro message. I love it.
Yeah, so I've always said no because I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you people are. Like, so I'm not going to just go to like a random house and get gangbanged by random guys because, sorry, no. Because, I mean, there's an element of danger to that, I guess. But I mean, in a controlled environment, I feel like it could be fun. Well, I think it. Like, I mean, hey, I watch it.
Yeah. No, I think
it could be fun. But how do you go about those? Like, so I mean, yeah. And how do you ask the girl before? Is it like, so you know? Do you like sit down and discuss like this is okay and this isn't, and these people? I'm interested. I want to know about it.
Yeah. If I look at all the gangbangs I've had, usually it's a progression. So usually it's girls that have had either like a threesome with us. And when we say gangbang, like I usually define threesome when I'm talking about it as mostly when you have like two girls, one guy, right? I usually say gangbang when there's even just two guys and one girl.
That's not a gangbang.
I know. But I usually say it like that just to clarify the difference between having two guys there or two girls there. But gangbang, let's say there's like 4, 5, 6, 7 people, right?
I would just say more than two guys.
Yeah,
I
sure.
think.
Let's clarify it like that. So for me, usually it's been girls that we've had threesomes with already. And they loved the experience. And they were like, oh my God, it is so good.
I want more cock.
Yes, exactly. That's literally what it is. Because most girls will describe it as, okay, I love having sex with one guy, but with two, now there's added pleasure and I feel even more, let's say, small or vulnerable. And for a lot of girls, that's what they like to feel. They like to feel submissive. So if you have one guy that's like choking her, pulling her hair, like whispering dirty things into her ear, while the other guy's like fingering her or spanking her, it's just more going on. So a lot of these girls that like multiple stimulants, like this layering, then it just adds to it, right? And so then they had this experience with two guys and they think, okay, this might be dose dependent. What would it be like with 3 guys, with 4 guys, with 5 guys? And it's usually these girls that are coming to me and saying, I'd like to experience that. Or a lot of times when I'm traveling, I have my 2 business partners. Sometimes we have students around. So it might be a case where I introduce them to, say, one of my business partners. We have a threesome with this girl and I'm like, oh, well, my other business partner's living this as well. Do you want to meet him? And then he'll come in. So it's, you were very right in the fact that all sex, you need to have this consent talk. and I hate the word consent because it sounds so fucking sterile and not sexy.
Does,
and it's
doesn't it? It sounds very like lawyery,
but
doesn't it?
I'd prefer to say you need
Boundaries?
to, not even boundaries. I'd like to describe it as like, you need to understand what each other's like pleasure triggers are. You need
Pleasure
to yeah.
triggers.
I call it like fantasy
But
search.
that
right?
doesn't, pleasure triggers doesn't invite no-nos, right?
Yeah,
I don't know what you would call them, but it doesn't invite like what things you don't like.
Exactly.
Right?
But this is the way I think about it, right? You are figuring out her fantasy or their fantasy, whatever. You figure out the other person's fantasy. And so a part of that, you're going to find out what they don't like, right? So when I say, okay, let's have a fucking gangbang, right? So I'm going to invite 4 of my friends around and we're going to have the best fucking time. It's going to be amazing. So then I'm going to ask her, like I just did you, what do you think you'll like about it? Right? So maybe we can role play this, Kat.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right, let's do it.
All right. So I'd say, okay, so you want a gangbang? Great. I'd ask what you like about it. You were like, I don't know. I just had to explore, blah, 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 blah. All right. My next question is, do you think you'd like it very rough? Like, what type of porn are you watching? Is it very rough or is it more like just the guys are like fucking her? It's a little bit more simple.
Oh, no, yeah.
What
It
is
probably
it like?
is a little bit more rough. I feel like for me personally, even when, regardless of how many people I'm having sex with and regardless of if it's a client or whatnot, I do generally like sex when it's a little bit more rough and kinky, but I'm not shy. So I usually tell people, like they will usually ask like, oh, is there things that you don't like? So like the one thing that I don't like, regardless of how many people in the room, is I don't like my nipples being touched or played with. They're very sensitive. I don't do it. It's like my belly button. Get away from my nipples.
Belly button and
Get away from my
nipples.
belly button.
No
like just
go.
don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it feels weird, but not in a good way.
Okay.
Not good
Feels
weird.
but
Yeah.
not in a good way.
Yeah, so like that's pretty much usually the only thing I say. But then I always say like, okay, if it gets to something that I don't like, I'll just say it. So usually I kind of say it like that. But I don't know if that would be good in a gangbang situation just because there's just so much going on. But I think that if I was to go into it, I would probably say the same thing. Like, okay, I would rather just go with the flow because I'm the kind of person where if something just feels a little bit too not like unnatural, that's a bit of a turn off for me. If it's a bit too robotic. So that's why even with my clients, I'll usually say, let's just go with the flow. And if I'm enjoying it, like, okay, cool, let's just roll with it, right? But if something, like if you do something or touch somewhere and I'm not into that, I'll just say, oh, like, just don't do that. Because I feel like that just feels more normal. That's what you would normally do, right? So I feel like I would kind of just go with the flow and then see what happens. But I mean, I wouldn't want to, I'd say it's hard because I feel like I'd want to kind of feel a bit dominated on, but then I wouldn't want to feel scared, but I would.
Okay.
I don't know.
So this is how I deal with this situation, right? This, by the way, this is the first time I've heard you say you didn't want to plan something. This is incredible. This is where I'm going to be planning something. So, by the way, this is amazing. This is one of the reasons I think why people don't have this talk is because now it starts to feel clinical and it starts to feel like, okay, we've planned this and you kind of lose the sexiness and the vibe out of it. But this is how we're going to do it to keep the vibe. Right?
Okay.
Because this is how we're going to keep it fun. Because instead of me being like, okay, a checklist, what about this? What about this? This is how I'd usually say it. I'd be like, okay, look, so you want to feel a little bit scared, but still feel in control. That's amazing. All right, I got a couple of questions. I'm super curious, actually.
Oh, no.
So would you like to be tied up? Have you been tied up before?
So, okay, are we pretending that we're about to have a gangbang right
Yeah,
now?
we are.
Okay.
Yeah. Get in character.
Okay. I
You look
okay,
scared.
so
I like it.
I
Right.
would say yes, but that would be because so let's just say hypothetically speaking, you and I were in this gangbang with whoever else.
Yeah, I got four friends coming around.
Yeah,
Kat.
I trust you though. So
Okay,
I would
perfect.
have my trust in you that I would say yes to the being tied up only because I would know that you were going to untie me eventually. Like I wouldn't just be
Yeah, you would be
taken
stranded.
down to a basement because I trust you and I know that you wouldn't let these people carry me off to get murdered, right?
All right, so no murdering. Okay.
No, but
And-
but that's because I know that you wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah.
If it was just random guys, I don't know that wouldn't happen. So I was like, I don't let any client tie me up.
Yeah, no, 100%. Do you like sucking dick?
Yes.
Okay, that turns you on. All right, this is important to know because there's going to be a lot of dicks flying around. So it's like, we need to know, all right? Do you like to suck dick?
Yeah, I'm
This is
very
important.
comfortable with dicks
Okay.
flying at my face.
All right,
That is
perfect. All right.
tends to be what,
And,
what happens in my day job.
Do you like... So there'll be some dirty talk because there's going to be 5 of us, right?
Ooh.
Do you like when...
Cringe.
No, what do you mean cringe? Do you like when guys like talk down to you, like shut up, you fucking slut? Or do you prefer them to be a little bit more like positive with their talk?
Oh God, I don't know. I'm not really into dirty talk that much, but like me personally doing it, I don't mind if a guy talks a little bit dirty to me. I guess I would probably like it to be a bit more like, like shut up or whatever. Because I feel like that's a bit less weird than like just...
Is there anything you don't like being called? Is anything off limits?
God.
Like horse, slut, pathetic? Is there any...
Oh my God. Pathetic. Oh my God.
Yeah.
See,
pathetic.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what
Is that too much?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. That's perfect. This is incredible.
Like, I mean, yeah, like, slut and
okay,
whore
but
and
not
whatever.
too
It's
far.
probably,
Not when it
that's
starts to
probably
feel
cheeky,
okay.
but not when it starts to feel personal.
not when it's
That feels like
you,
oh my God,
walk
sorry,
away
like
crying. See, this is important. You may potentially what could have happened is this could have been the worst experience of your life. You walk around with okay, this is good.
Yeah,
okay, so slut and
no, but so yeah, slut and whore is okay, but pathetic. That just feels really personal.
You got something to say, Markus?
I'm trying not to.
That's so funny. But the reason is some girls, right? They like to feel degraded, right? They like to be really put down during sex, right? So that's why I asked. But okay, so something that's like sexy in a way, like slut, whore, but nothing that is too too real.
Yeah.
All right, amazing. That's cool. And what about impacts, right? Let's talk a little bit about like if we were to use toys, like if we were going to be spanking you. Do you like to be hit during sex?
Oh, a little bit, but not when it's really hard.
No. So you like
it takes the fun away out of it though. Like
so
if it's just like a little.
Yeah, you like the psychology of it, like he's hitting me, it's naughty.
100%, but not if it hurts.
But no marks, no pain. Okay.
Yeah, or like a little bit, but not some. Like I've had a few guys slap my ass and it like really hurts, and I'm like, that's actually just not.
So just get you like out of your body then.
Yeah, but I don't mind a little bit of slapping when it's like because it's like a little bit like ooh cheeky, like just even if it's like on the face a little bit cheeky, but yeah, when it's like feeling like you're trying to hurt me, again that takes the fun out. Now I'm just concentrating on the pain. I'm just like the fuck.
Okay, perfect. See, so this is the type of conversation I have. So it doesn't feel too clinical, let's say, but we'd have this type of conversation, and then I'd say, I might even walk the girl through it. So I might even say, okay, Kat, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna come around, right? We're gonna lay you on the bed.
Oh my God.
And the 5 of us are gonna just give you a massage to begin with. Right?
We're just gonna nice.
Yeah, of course. We're just gonna run our hands across your body, use some oil, right? Have some music playing. It'll be nice and chill at first. Then we're gonna flip you over. We're gonna wait a little bit. We'll wait till your like breathing settles, you're calm.
I don't mind
relaxed.
a bit of a tease.
Yeah. Then we're gonna tie you up. Right? I'm gonna take rope, wrap it around your little wrists, tie you to the bed. And so this, I explained it to the girls so they know exactly what's going to happen, or at least have an image. And then I'd say, okay, my friend, he's going to eat your pussy. He loves eating pussy. Oh my God, he loves it so much. So he's going to come in, right? And then I'd describe it a little bit. Now, you want to have some mystery, let's say, as you were talking about. You want to see where the vibe kind of goes and what happens. And, you don't want to script it out. But for these girls, or for anyone that is about to experience group sex for the first time, the biggest thing is like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to happen. I've got all this fear, again, fear-based emotion. So if you can walk through it a little bit, the first thing you said was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Like this, okay, this sounds nice. I'll relax a little bit. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right. So knowing that, you're going to be more inclined to this experience. So walking through it a little bit. And this is what we do with the girls that we have these gangbangs with. And just on this topic, while we're here around kind of consent and figuring out what people want and what they don't want, having a safe word here is really important. So something you can say, you said you'll let them know when you want to stop. Now, if I'm fucking a girl and she's like, stop, right? I kind of find that hot, right? It's kind of a little bit.
So rapey.
It's a little bit sexy, okay? So if I'm with a girl and she's like, stop, no. I'm like, okay, this is turning me on. So it's really important for me to have a word that isn't sexy, right? Stops might turn me on a little bit. So having a word like.
So a safe word.
Yeah. Do you have a safe word?
No.
Okay.
Well, I've never had a gangbang. I didn't need. What do I need a safe word for?
Well, yeah, you can pick any word you want, right? That's the fun thing about the safe. It's like name your child. You get to choose.
What's your safe word?
I don't have one for myself, let's say. But I usually give red. If girls don't know what to use, I like red. But otherwise, I mean, you can say whatever you want. I've had some weird fucking safe words before that make me laugh. But so that way the girl can, again, be empowered to know that she can stop whenever she wants to stop. And not only just saying this is your safe word, but encouraging you to use it, right? Because a lot of times you give a girl a safe word and they feel bad if they have to say it. So encouraging you to use it. So say perhaps you're tied up and I see one of the guys is like spanking you, right? And I'm like, oh, boys, she did mention she didn't want to be spanked too hard. I'd look at you and be like, Kat, what does your safe word start with? You'd be like, all right, good girl. Right? So it's like a trigger, a reminder. And before sex, I'd tell you, like, if you want to use your safe word, use it, right? Say it. That's what it's there for. So we know, right? So if you want to say it, we're not going to stop like having sex completely and pack our bat. Like, we're just going to either change what we're doing, check in, see you're okay, like switch it up, doing something else. And so having the safe word there, encouraging them to use it around safe sex, like, if you're fucking multiple women, say it's group sex with multiple girls, then use a different condom for every girl, right? You don't
think that would be obvious.
Whoa, you think, yeah. You don't fuck girl A and then go fuck girl B, right? So changing condoms, excuse me, safe words, going through that process, and then aftercare, right? So if this is your first ever gangbang and you've just had sex with like 4 guys and maybe you got called a slut, for example, maybe you're spanked, maybe, and then you're laying there and, you know, there can be certain thoughts that run through women's heads after sex. And it's important for everyone to give you that opportunity. And if you're the guy, to give you that opportunity to be able to talk through it emotionally. Now, maybe it's fine. Maybe you're like, hey guys, it was fun. See you later. Bye. Right? Maybe that's it.
Okay.
But for some girls, maybe it's,
to check in at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Did you really mean what you said? Or they'll be like, oh, fuck, I can't believe I've done that. And I've had this experience with girls.
Like a regret kind of thing?
Well, not a regret. Maybe you can describe it
really
like that.
Really dirty.
Maybe you can describe it like that. But it's more a
feeling of dirtiness.
Shame, let's say.
Shame.
Yeah, a feeling of dirtiness. And especially like if I'm being dating this girl, if I've like been with this girl and she likes me, let's say. And then I've been like, okay, here are all my friends. She's fucked all my friends. She might feel bad for me even, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really, really, really important to have that time afterwards to let the emotions kind of be explored a little bit, to make sure the girl doesn't feel any shame, to let her know that it was a positive experience for you. Because as I tell girls afterwards, I'm like, you were the luckiest girl. I'm like, imagine, Kat, imagine I go on a Tinder date. Right, say I got a date tonight with some girl in Sydney.
And she's like, hey, here's 5 girls.
Here's 5 friends. Yo. Yeah, I'm having a fucking great time.
That's never happened to you, has it?
It's not 5, but yeah, I've been introduced to a lot of friends in the past. But
yeah, it doesn't happen to guys like that, right?
No. And so I always tell girls, I'm like, you're lucky. I'm like,
that's
true.
The
luckiest girl. Like,
that is
try
true.
to find 5 open-minded guys like this. So what my experience is so far in these gangbangs, is women will often describe it as one of their best sexual experiences they've ever had, right? It is incredibly unique. It's a unique experience. It's incredibly pleasurable. It's fun. They get to feel vulnerable, but also the center of attention of all these men.
It would be empowering.
It's very, right? It's very. But I also, even these women that later on is described as their best experience, in that moment have had times where they thought, is this okay? Am I being judged by these guys? Is this? So you need to make sure if there's any amount of sexual shame there, you deal with it. And even from, I guess, the guy's perspective as well, there might be guys in the room that may want to chat about this later, right? Or maybe want to decompress it a little bit without making this sound like a fucking traumatic experience. It is a lot of fun, but it's important. Consent, safe sex, and having that aftercare is definitely needed.
Awesome.
All right, fun times.
Thank you for all of your insight.
No worries.
A lot of insight. Lots of experience there.
Should we go on to the sex toy review?
Yeah.
Was there anything else? I think we pretty much covered.
Anything?
No, I think we covered. I mean, we can. I think we covered in pretty good detail. I mean, there might be if anyone has any questions, they can always comment on comment or message us. But I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah, sounds good. Great. All right. So this week, sex toy review. Mark's just grabbing it now. So we here we have, well, yes, for those who can see us, can't see us. We've got the honey birdette spreader bar. So what that is, that probably doesn't make much sense to some people. It's a bar with like two cuffs on each side that goes like at the ankle. So you cuff one to one ankle and then you cuff one to the other ankle, and then there's a bar in between, and basically it spreads. Like 50, I've seen it in 50 Shades of Grey. That's the first time I've seen it. Okay. This one isn't that cool. It doesn't slide open like his one does. That would be cool. That's on the bucket list. But yeah, no, this one's just like a twisty one. But I mean, hey, it does the same job. So
tell me what you think about it, Kat. What are your first impressions of this?
I hate it.
Okay. Kat really hates this.
You know what? I'm actually just not a fan of toys in the bedroom. I feel like whenever I've used toys, especially this one, I find that they end up just being too kind of in the way and too clunky. Like I find that they hinder my sexual experience. They either, they just get in the way. You can't do things properly. Like, so for this one, I actually felt like this one didn't even spread my legs like enough or properly. It's because sometimes you just want to throw a girl around and then you've just got this bar on your leg. And especially most of the sex that I have with, like, I tend to go for more dominant guys, right? And you just want to fling me around the room, and I kind of can't because I've got sometimes some of them get tangled in it. Just rolling around, funny. And then they've got an arm stuck here and then a leg stuck there. We end up being kind of twisted, and then we have to untangle each other. Then it kind of hurts a little bit. It kind of hurts. It digs in. Look, I was not a fan. But that's from a girl's point of view. I want to know from a guy's point of view. You've used one, and you're looking at it and drooling. So
I love toys.
You are literally drooling right now.
I have a collection. Like, toys are my thing. The way I think about toys is like an extension of you, right? As a guy, it's an extension of who you are, and where you can. It's like tools for the bedroom. Is where you can express yourself. Now, first of all, I love the way this looks. I think if you walk into a guy's place and he's got one of these like hanging up on his wall or something with some other toys, you're like, okay, this guy's pretty badass, right?
I love that you said hanging up on the wall. So let me just, for all of our listeners, Mark's old apartment, when you walked in, there was literally rope and sex toys hanging off the wall. It's
got to be easily accessible.
That was the first thing you seen when you walk in, and every single time that I'd be there and he'd bring some new girl over, they were just like, I would be sitting, me and the gang would just be like sitting in the corner, and we'd see this like poor little innocent girl walking, and she would just turn like a little muppet, like looking at the wall, being like,
yeah, she knows what she's for now. So I mean, look, I love the look of this. For those that are just listening to the podcast, it's kind of, the bar is rose gold. The cuffs it's a nice leather as well. So I love the look of it. The functionality of spreader bars. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, to be honest. So for me, when it comes to bondage, I'm a big rope guy. I love rope. And I'm gonna fucking fanboy about rope later on in a podcast, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, we can have a rope and shibari edition.
Exactly, but rope is just so versatile, and you can use it differently for every single girl, and you can, let's say, make that bondage very unique for them. This spreader bar. Yeah, to me, it feels lazy. Like, coming from the world of rope, it feels lazy. And I think this would honestly be better for your hands. Like, if you use this on your hands and put it above your bed and maybe tied it to your bed, I think like that would be better.
I like that.
Yeah, because this on your legs, as you said, it doesn't spread it that much.
No, it doesn't.
It's and
it's on a weird angle.
Yeah, and it doesn't, like, the whole idea of, let's say, a spreader bar or any bondage is to make you feel restrained. It is because you're saying, like, we're moving around the bed and It's, the whole point of this is you put it on and the girl can't fucking move. You put it on and she feels vulnerable. You put it on and she loses all control.
Yeah. I feel like I could still run away in this.
Exactly.
I could definitely still run away in
this, for sure. So it looks pretty. It looks nice.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you said. It would look good hanging on a wall.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd take it off my wall, though.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's a good decoration.
Yeah, a nice household decorative piece for anyone. Exactly. If you've got a sex room, this should go there. Yeah. It's
So if
pretty.
anyone doesn't want to spread a bar, don't go to Honey Birdette. That's, but look, spread it for those that aren't willing to put in the time to learn rope and just want something easy. Then yeah, this I guess would be okay. Maybe use it for wrists. You can kind of cover up. And it kind of, yeah, I think this on the, okay, let me rethink this. This on some wrists, for those that aren't listening, if you put these on your wrists, this goes above your head. And now you can actually, you can hold that bar down with your hand as you fuck the girl, right? If that's over the top of your head. Yeah, and now I hold that bar with my left hand, right?
I'm holding the spreader bar above
Yeah,
my head.
see, we can make this work. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can, I guess, hold that down.
Oh, I guess maybe behind. Wait, with that, let's.
Yeah, maybe even behind.
Like that.
Okay, see, we can make some use for this bar. That could work.
Yeah, this could
That
work from behind. But then, but if I was lying on my back, then I'd
No, you can lie on your back. You have to like fuck doggy like that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that could be fun.
You gotta hold on to the bar as you fuck. Okay.
Oh yeah, but in doggy style. Okay,
Yeah, we
then
found a use
way.
for the bar.
Yeah.
We found a use for the bar.
we
But
can report back on
Yeah,
another episode.
for me-
One of us has tried that.
when it comes to bondage, though, I just use rope, to be honest. I try to stay away from cuffs and chains and everything like that. So, but yeah, nice looking bar. Nice looking bar. So, there we go.
All right, that's our review. Next, we've got our question from the audience.
We
Exciting.
do. Question from Zach. I wrote down the question. This wasn't exactly word for word, but let's go for it. He essentially asked how to keep sex exciting. So for someone in a relationship or seeing a girl over and over again, or a girl seeing a guy over and over again, how do you keep sex exciting and spontaneous and so it doesn't feel like monotonous? So I guess...
So my first question, so are they trying to keep it monogamous?
monotonous, I meant. They're monogamous.
Okay, and they want to stay monogamous?
Yeah, they want to stay monogamous. Were you
All right,
about
well,
to
any
suggest
advice, any advice I have is gone out the window. then.
maybe you should bring someone.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you've been in a relationship before, Kat.
Yeah, and they didn't work out. And that's probably-
It's 'cause
I
the
think
sex
it was
boring.
because the sex got boring. So I'm curious to know how you
Well, how
can
do
keep
you
it
think?
exciting.
I'm going to answer this, but how do you think a guy with you could keep it exciting, or how would you keep it
Well,
exciting?
if I was to have a boyfriend now, well, I guess it would depend on if he was a sex worker or not. If he wasn't a sex worker, well, I mean, yeah, he can stay monogamous if he wants to, because I know I'd be getting some, right?
Yeah. I like that framing. Yeah, he can stay monogamous. That's fine. If you want to be monogamous, you be monogamous.
Yeah.
I just won't be.
Well, because I kind of like the thought that I can still get a little bit of variety, but I mean, because I don't know if as I was saying earlier, I don't know if I'd want to be inviting other people into
Well, let's say this. Let's give a different example.
sex.
Let's say you're seeing a guy casually, right? So you're still fucking around. Like, you're still having fun.
Okay.
You're seeing a guy casually, but maybe it's been
casually,
3 months.
yes.
Maybe it's been 3 months. You've seen each other every week, right? Like, how would you guys keep it exciting? Or how would you want him to keep it exciting?
I don't know. Well, I think it's a bit different if it's just like a casual fling to like someone you've been married to for like 10 years or something.
Yeah, it's slightly different. I mean, this is my view.
Okay.
Let's say.
Yeah. I want to
Okay.
hear. I think you want to say something.
Yeah, I mean, no, because I've thought about this quite
Yeah.
a lot, but I was curious from your perspective.
Yeah,
like,
I
being a
don't know.
woman, how would you want your man to, like, spice it up?
Oh
right?
God. Yeah. All right.
But-
You tell me your thoughts and let me sit on this for a bit.
Okay. The way I think about it is like you're at the casino. Okay.
What? I'm at the casino.
Yeah. This is my analogy. You're at the casino.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, yeah,
Follow
I
follow
am.
with me.
I'm at the casino.
You're playing the pokies, right?
Okay.
So you're on the machine. You're on a slot machine. Now, the way they keep it exciting is not by making it different every single time you hit the fucking button. It's not by giving you a prize every single time you hit the button. They make it exciting and they keep you hooked because what they do is every now and again, they hit you with something different, or let's say they hit you with a prize. So you could be sitting there tapping, like fucking
Literal
15
tapping,
times. Yeah,
yeah.
hitting it. And then the 16th time, boom, win, right? You win a little bit of money. And you're like, oh, fuck, okay, great. And you start tapping again. So it's this variable positive reinforcement. And so when I think about sex, it's not about making it different every single time you're fucking a girl, right? It's not. Because you can have the same sex with that same girl in a very similar fashion multiple times, and it's still going to be great. The problem becomes when it's like that every single time. And now you're 3 months in and you think, okay, I've only ever had sex with this guy, this style. Even if it's good, right? Even if it's, okay, he gives me a massage, he's my pussy, he fucks me rough, he does it. But if it's the same over and over, you get bored.
Yeah.
You get bored. And so I have a girl that I've been seeing, oh God, is it 2 years or something now? And something she mentioned to me is she said, one of the reasons I enjoy fucking you so much is it's different every time. And that's what she said. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, it's not different every time. But that's her perception. Yeah.
Okay.
But what I do is sometimes it's different. And so in her mind, every time she comes over, she doesn't know what to expect. She hits that button not knowing if it's going to be something different or the prize or not. And so that's what I do. And so what I might do is if I'm seeing a new girl, I fuck her a certain way one time, maybe find out what she likes, what her kinks are, maybe switch it up a few times. But what I then plan to do is every few times we have sex, I'm going to make sure it's different.
And when you say different, what is different? Like maybe tying her up one day.
Yeah, so this is the great part about being able to explore kinks. Because with my toolbox, it could be, fucking lighting.
Vibrator one day, spread a bar the next day, rope Thursday. Is your toolbox labeled with like Monday toys, Tuesday toys, and whatever lucky girl comes over on one day of the week? Okay, here's my Wednesday box.
That's a smart idea.
Oh my God,
I like this. All right, Kat's going to come over my place and label my books.
I'm going to start organizing. That is my happy place.
But no, I mean, once you have more of a toolkit, then it could be, okay, we're going to do some wax play. Okay.
Wax play?
Yeah, light up some candles. But
holy shit.
Say you're not at that level, right? Say you're just a fucking guy out there that's having somewhat vanilla sex.
I wouldn't want some like random guy off the street going and lighting candles and then their whole house catches on fire.
Yeah, like dripping candle.
And then next minute, third degree burns in the emergency room or like houses on fire.
Exactly, yeah. So candles aren't something I'd pull out on the first date, let's say. But no, say you're a guy that, perhaps you don't have this level of tools at your disposal right now. I'd still look to make it different. And so what that could mean is one time you could play slow, more romantic music and you could have more slow, intimate sex with your partner. Then the next time is, okay, maybe you don't even make it to the bedroom. Maybe you're in the kitchen and you're like, listen, I have to have you right now. Right? I've been thinking about you all day. You're in my mind. I just take your fucking clothes off right now. Maybe it's more simultaneous. Maybe it is in public. Maybe in the bedroom, you do give her that massage first, right? And you make it more slow. Or it's quick sex. Or it's in the morning. Or, it's more dominant. Maybe you're like choking her a little bit. And of course, you speak about this with her beforehand. But maybe you're choking her, spanking her. You're calling her dirty, kinky names. So you can mix it up even with something as small as the dirty talk that you're using to speak to her. Something as small as the type of foreplay, or as you mentioned, like using different vibrators. But the point is here, you just have to make it different every now and again. You want to create that variability enough that it doesn't just feel like the same every single fucking time. And so especially for guys married for 10 years, you said that, right? So you can't make it different fuck that, but you can't make it different every single time, right? But you can make it different enough times that it feels spontaneous.
I like the analogy you use. That actually makes a lot of sense. Like if if I have sex with them for, eventually I'm going to get to something good.
Is tonight the night that it gets switched up?
Yeah, okay, I like that.
Right? And you can even create suspense. Like sometimes what I like to do with girls is find out what they want to try. So maybe we've been seeing each other for a month or two. And then I'll say, okay, what if one thing you could try, what could it be? So say for you were like a gangbang. And so I'll say, okay, I'm going to plan that. I'm not going to tell you when, but I'm going to plan that.
Ooh.
So one time you come over, there's going to be 4 other guys.
Oh my God, I like that. Yeah,
right? So now every time they're like, fuck, and it might not be that extreme.
Yeah.
But it could be a girl being something as simple as like, okay, I really like using vibrators during sex. Okay, good. We're going to do that very soon.
Yeah.
But you don't say when.
Okay.
And so, I think that creates anticipation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. That's good advice, I think.
Fun times.
Better than my advice, which is just to not be monogamous.
Just Just when you get bored, find
Just
someone
fuck
new.
someone else.
Yeah.
But with permission.
Yeah, with permission. He can be monogamous, but just not you.
Yeah.
I like
no,
that.
you can both fuck other people. Like that was my advice. So
Yeah.
I think Mark's advice is probably more sound.
No, but I do
I
appreciate
guess
that.
my advice would probably cater to the people who are open to maybe not being monogamous if they exist.
No, but that does keep it
Yeah, we
exciting.
would have sex worker listeners who,
Exactly.
know.
No, it does. Yeah, fuck more people. That does. switch it up.
Yeah, bring
that's
more
like
people in the
that.
bedroom.
Exactly.
Invite more people in.
I love it. Alrighty, Kat, hit me with the sex fact of the week.
Yeah, so now, we've got a very interesting sex fact of the week, which it's a male-based one, so I'm very interested to hear Mark's thoughts about
hit
it.
me.
So we have the furthest ejaculation of a guy. His name was Horst Schultz. I don't know if
Okay,
I'm
it sounds
saying that.
German, maybe.
I mean, come on, think about it. Like the people from the Netherlands or the Germans, they know all about sex. If they can be ejaculating far, it's them.
I love it.
They know sex. Let's
it.
be real. So it was 6 meters long. So that's longer.
6 meters?
Relative length, longer than a stretch limo. And it was at
Jesus
70 kilometers an
Christ.
hour. Can you imagine driving 70 kilometers? So that means cum
Jesus.
was traveling at 70 kilometers. That's a highway.
I feel sorry for the girls he's fucking. Like, do you get internal bruising from, like, he's like
God.
busting open condoms with this guy's semen and
God,
shit.
that's so
this is
true.
a safety hazard. Imagine getting that in your eye, Cat. You'd lose an eye.
I would actually lose an eye. Oh my God, you know
6
what?
meters.
I might have to
70
throw
kilometers
in
per
a
hour.
disclaimer. The next time a guy's coming up my face, somebody like, whoa,
Whoa.
How
Are
many
you German?
kilometers an hour? How many kilometers an hour does your cum travel before you get that anywhere near my vital organs?
I would love to know how they discovered this, right? Like,
did
hey,
it accidentally happen one day?
yeah, or like, how do they say you're the guy working and like Guinness World Records or something?
And you
You
get
get
a
a
phone
call.
call.
You're like, fuck. All right,
I
fine.
have to watch a guy jerk off.
Exactly, yeah.
Can you imagine even this guy
and then
who's
you-
there with Guinness World Record
Yeah,
judges just
exactly.
sitting there with their marking papers and their bloody ruler?
He's got the guy that had to get the ruler out and like measure it to the
And
end
he
of
would
the
have had to
cum.
look like they would have had to walk over to
That's
this
so
guy's
funny.
semen on the ground and get out their little.
Do you
measuring
reckon he
stick.
does like? Do you know in the Olympics how they have what's that sport where they hold the thing and they spin around and like throw
like
it?
a javelin?
Yeah, kind of
something?
like javelin, but it's with a weighted ball. I forget what it's called. But there's
Hammer
a weight-
throwing?
Yeah, hammer throwing. Do you reckon when he does this, he like spins around first and then like ejaculates like right at the end? Just like a hip thrust at the end to like get some more momentum.
Well, I mean,
I totally would.
Have you ever
I've
like
never tested.
ejaculated on a floor?
No,
even?
so guys, next podcast.
we're gonna measure.
No, I don't.
No, well, I mean, hey, if you are down for it,
So-
get your measuring stick out and try it out at home.
I'm just thinking. I've obviously like come on a girl's back before.
Yeah.
But you're never aiming for distance.
No, you're aiming down, right?
No, yeah, exactly. You're like, okay, don't get this in the hair. That's what I'm thinking. If I get this in the hair, we're in trouble. That's what I'm thinking. But I've never thought like, I wonder how far. I wonder how far I could. Okay.
Yeah. I want to try and find. I wonder if this guy has videos that we can.
Let's get him on the podcast.
You know? Yeah. I'm
All right,
curious
guys,
to
special
hear from this
guest.
guy.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's find him. If
Yeah,
anyone
let's try
knows,
and find-
if anyone knows him, or if anyone has an extremely long ejaculation,
Oh yeah, if anyone has done this,
Let us know.
or
We're gonna
if
get you on.
If you try it at home and you're like, you know what, that was actually really far.
or
We
if
wanna
you've
hear
ever
from you.
been with a guy and just thought that hurt.
like that hit my cervix.
Did you punch me in the back of the head? No, sorry, I just came. If you've experienced that, write in. I want to.
Yeah, I'm keen to hear about that. Yeah, that's very interesting.
That's good on the Germans. Okay.
Yeah, good on
Thank
them.
you for the sex fact, though. It was interesting. I'm looking forward to next week. Next week, every week, Kat's going to have a sex fact for us, so I'm looking forward to it.
I'll try to keep them as interesting as that one.
That was
I know. I
one of
don't
my
know how I'm going to
favorites.
live up to that one, but
I'm never going to see limos the same again. Like, I'm just thinking, this guy could be in the back of the limo, hit the driver, just straight up.
that's another safety
That's
hazard.
impressive. Okay. Anyway, I'll be training all week. All right.
Well, I think that's it for this week. Isn't
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
Also, If you are a male content creator, I'm open to collaborating with other people as well, now that I'm kind of in my in my porn phase at the moment.
Perfect.
I want to stress though that you must be a content creator. I do get a lot of messages from random people being like, hey, let's make content. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? I'm
That is
sorry. No, you're
gold.
not getting free sex.
Hey, I respect the grind though. I respect the grind. These guys
Yeah,
are like,
props for
hey, I
asking.
just created an OnlyFans. You want to like maybe create some content?
Yeah, so making a Twitter or a TikTok that morning does not make you a creator. You must
That
be,
is
or like
hilarious.
you have to have been working with other people that I can see.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, hey, if you're a male content creator, you don't have to be in Sydney. You can be wherever. I mean, hit me up. Maybe we can organize something. Yeah, and you can find me on OnlyFans and all of the socials at Katija Cortez. That's Cardia with a J.
It's a confusing name.
Yeah.
Perfect. If anyone has any questions as well, you can shoot me a message. So the email is markus@orgasmicblisscoaching.com. So you can shoot us a message there. And awesome. We'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah. Happy sex, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.